I was about to say, I'm like, this just don't really kind of sound exquisite, but yeah, I mean, we up in here though, but definitely, y'all. I mean, got Moe Factz up in here. Moe Factz had educated me on something that was very like surprising because it reminded me of a personal experience I had, in high school that I just talked about last live. So, but anyways, Mo, just say what's up. Do your thing.
Oh, what's up to the live chat? What's up to you, Grump? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
When I saw you going live earlier, I thought you were covering this story that we were about to talk about when you was talking about racial slurs and the N word. And it
Yes,
comes to
sir.
find out you was covering it from a different angle. So I wanted to hop on here just to see if other people haven't heard about this story. And that story is Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son, emails being exposed to him using the N-word while talking to his lawyer. And it's funny that you hadn't heard about that.
Haven't heard about it at all until you just hit me up about that.
Right. So first thing that stands out to me, and this ain't on a partisan tip, but it's amazing. If we would have heard 45 Savage, aka Donald Trump, I refer to him as 45 Savage. If we would heard if one of his children would have done this, then it would have been wall-to-wall coverage. But all of a sudden, the media, mainstream media, is suppressing this story to go even as far as to have it not trending on Twitter. They even suppressed it there. So I just wanted to point this out because I think it goes to what you're saying about the N-word. I think the N-word itself is a mind control trigger. It's a surefire way for a black person to lose control of themselves and act out, and the white man knows that, and he knows that to the average black person, you can say that word and you can get him to react physically or either emotionally, and it results in you costing your freedom most times. Because when you go to a court of law, they're going to say, well, he did say that word to you, but you physically assaulted him. You see what I'm saying? So it's
Exactly.
always a trick. It's a mind control trigger.
Yeah, exactly. And I just remember I talked about that on the previous live, talking about emotional, about how like how you put me on game with it. Like if you act emotional, it can result to extreme things. Two things that's extreme. Prison time or in the ground. And like it reminded me of that thing at Dunkin' Donuts where this young brother was working and there was an elder European man came up in there and hit him with that N-word slur, and he hit him, and the white dude that fell down, his head hit the ground, and they sent him to the hospital. I think it was in Tampa, Florida, and he passed away in the hospital. So that young brother's getting tried with manslaughter, I think, but just off of like how they control. You get what I'm saying? Sorry to
Yeah,
be
that
like
at the end of the
long.
day, who wins, who loses? The white man will have some bruises and bumps, and at the same time, um, the black man's gonna lose his freedom. So it's if you look inside a racist head, it's worth the trade-off. It's right. I'll take the quit lump and get swallowed up, but you're gonna go away for 6 months to a year, or 2 years, or 5 years, depending on how bad you hurt the person. And in their
True.
mind, that's a win. You had to understand the pathology of a racist. And then the other thing is I find surprising is now like I said before, no, if the word had the same amount of power, right? Then why is it treated differently when one president's son would say it from another president's son who say it? It's the same word.
I feel we. I mean, yeah, we've been
Why
like this is something that need to be talked about. Go ahead.
why psychologically we don't have the same reaction? That goes to show you that it's how we receive it, not how it's given, not how it's said. Even a black man can say it in a certain way to you. And that goes to what Bobby was saying about the emotion put behind words when you were saying about bet or bet. You know, it depends on how you charge that word nigga. Like you can say, oh, that's my nigga. Or you could be like, oh, that nigga, or I'm that nigga. You know what I'm saying? It's so many words you can load that word up. And it's a very powerful word, which really they've changed the definition of the word even in my lifetime. Because in my lifetime growing up, the definition was when you were lazy, shiftless, and uneducated or dumb. That's
Oh,
what
so
nigga meant.
so you saying during your time they had used it like you a bum and they hit you with it. Like so when they hit it with you, like it's a derogatory term. You're supposed to
What
feel bad about it.
even in the definition of the word, it was in the dictionary, it would say shiftless, ignorant, and lazy. That's what
But
nigger meant.
but check this out. So is that like like getting hit with the damn B word? You know what I'm saying? Like during your times growing up, when they call certain people that was it like almost equivalent to being called a female dog? Like it was like we
Right.
fighting after that. Okay.
Even still, like your girlfriend or a girl's girlfriend could call him that, and they're like, "Oh, it's cool." But if her boyfriend called her that, it depends on how he loads that word up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might be, and she might not trip. But like, he'd be like, you nothing but a B. That's the same word, but it's loaded differently, and it
And
holds
it
different weight.
and then sometimes I think what was it do Plies. I saw him on Instagram. He most people be hitting it with like a bit, like like bit, like you see what I'm saying? What you think about that?
Well, we softened it up because that goes to what Bobby was saying too. The phonetics of a word, that's a strong phonetic sound. The itch, you know what I'm saying? That's a hard sound. That's like how we soften up nigga, the er, because the er is a hard sound. So we soften it up with an a.
Damn.
See, I
See.
mean, Bobby was kicking a lot of knowledge. Um, but we have to understand that everybody can't grasp it on that level. But when you put certain forces behind the word, and there's this experiment, and I don't know if it's been proven or not, but it was a internet sensation. It was like you take a jar of rice, right, rice and water, and then every day you take the jar out and you speak bad to the rice. You like cuss it out and say bad and mean things to it. And then you take another jar and you say nice things to the rice in the jar. And the rice that you said bad things to will mold and spoil faster and decay faster. So it's this energy that we put behind words that matter more than the words themselves.
So yeah, for instance, like with our culture word that most rappers be using, like it's actually to the point where it's like consider endearment, but the energy behind it is like it trap, like in the ocean, like trying to save somebody, and they like grab you to bring you down because it's like, oh, I'm a real dude, I'm a real end of like, oh, I don't rock with them ends. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about that?
I think you're exactly right. And the thing is, like I said, the reason why I'm bringing this up is this goes to show you, one, the double standard that some of these brain dead people have. And when two people can say the same thing, but they take it totally different. Two, to show you that the media is basically propaganda. If like I said again, if 45 Savage Sons would have said this would be wall to wall breaking news, proof that he's a racist or they are racist. But when you have somebody that wrote many crime bills to lock up numerous people for the same action that his son partakes in of using a certain substance, and he's been saying that we are wild animals and cockroaches, and you heard all the things that Judge Joe Brown, the Honorable Judge Joe Brown, has said about this president, so-called president. But we look the other way, like, oh, that's Joe just being Joe. And it's kind of like the same thing with the N-word thing. Like when you hear somebody not of our group use the N-word because somebody else done vouch for them. Like I never understood that. I come from a different school. That was
Nah,
never
so
acceptable for me.
yeah, I understand with that. It's like you got like with some of the Migos, like I just watched this thing with Say Cheese, right? And they
Mm-hmm.
had Peso, and Peso was talking about, Charleston White about his situation.
Mm-hmm.
And then Peso's Mexican. And what's his name? Say Cheese was Sean was asking him about like, about saying nigga and all that. And dude was like, Charleston White is from Texas. He know that, that's the culture and all that. And then in that same sentence, he was like, Charleston White, man, that nigga's a clown. That nigga's like, hit him with that. So that being said, if he's doing that, why not just be like, use the endearment spick? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's up, my spick? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's
There
just
is
what that.
no
So
endearment.
you get what I'm saying? It's like, oh,
Right.
you said what's up, my nigga, and they be like, okay, what's up, my spick? Like, what's the problem here? I get what you're saying overall, though.
Because it's what it is that we set the standard, and our standard is very low. That we let people outside of our group. Honestly, we shouldn't call each other that. Not because of the word is bad itself. The word is not bad itself. It only means black. I mean, at the end of the day, because it's been used throughout antiquity, right? But the word, as we know, many words gets charged up over time, and loaded, it become loaded terms. So when we look at that, we have to be careful not to. One, I don't like to use it in mixed company. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's other people, other races around, I don't feel comfortable using that word.
I see. I understand that too. You be having people just at gas stations or just out in the opening. Like, put it this way, not be off topic, but Fresh and Fit. It was a podcast, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they was trying to kick these girls out, and they were indigenous women, but they were acting all crazy and everything. And then one had hit on one of the guys, and she was just hitting him with the N-word, like, you ain't gonna do nothing, you pussy nigga, da da da. And it's like different ethnicities in that, podcast. You kind of get what I'm saying? It just
Mm-hmm.
don't sit right. Like, it's like, hold up, like, I get you saying, it's just if it's in a mixture of different people, it's like you just going off the rails with it.
Right, and even within our group, it means different things because you can hear people say niggas ain't it. You know what I'm saying? Well, like, what does that mean? Are you saying all black people? Like, how are you using that term? I mean, like, the term is so
Yeah,
it's so watered down. It's charged but watered down at the same time because that's the energy people give to that word. Now, say you're a productive young black man, and some poor white man hick comes out of his mouth and calls you that word. Are you supposed to put your whole future and your life on the line to, you know what I'm saying, to check that man right then and there? I don't know. There's no right answer. You see what I'm saying? Because society's expectation of us, like, at all costs, you don't let nobody call you that word. But it's like, do I throw my life away? Do I throw my future away to check this person that's actually beneath me, economically, socially? Like, so.
and it's difficult. I'm glad you asked that because like there was situations where I had to like check other groups on it, like physically. I'm not doing
Mm-hmm.
that no more. I'm grown now, but I'm just saying like I encountered that twice though. Had to put hands on it, but still, it's like kind of easier for you to like look down upon a person who's like insult you that way if you like from my personal experience and my observation, if you're like financially stable, if you're out of the streets and everything, if you're
Mm-hmm.
doing good, like got a job and everything, you'll look down like I ain't got time for that. But if you in the trenches and you going through hard times, you already in the struggle, and then somebody hit you with that, it's a different energy about it. You kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I kind of get what you're saying, but I would also say that the person that's making money and sent far from quote unquote black culture might try to keep it real, you know, because they feel some kind of way, some kind of insecurity, and say, "Well, I got to protect my blackness," and jump on that person, and then they throw their whole life away. And if it's the case, then any racist could come along and get you off your square by hurling that word at you. So, like I said, it's a built-in mechanism to make you actually act like what they call you.
Exactly.
It's very fascinating if you think about it.
Extremely fascinating. Go ahead.
The way they built that in is like, if I call you a nigga, you're gonna act like a nigga.
there it is, and it's the psychological warfare. Shouts out to Don with the book. You know, it's
Hmm.
like the mindset. It's like the odds. If you grew up in a high poverty area and everything, and you're an indigenous person, and you grew up into, oh, I'm a real nigga. Oh, this is why I am, and all that. So it's put you in this box in this corner that if you encounter a situation like this, and somebody from another group hit you with it with a hard ER, and you just look the other way and be like, I ain't got time for that. They're gonna call you. What is it? Like what Uncle Tom, you know, a house nigga, you know, like they're gonna call you a lame for it, like
But no,
your
coon.
people.
Let's, I mean,
Oh
let's
yeah,
just
cool. That's what it is, coon, right?
for coon used to be the equivalent to nigger, but it was who was saying it. So it would be a black person calling a black man a coon
Hey,
would be
that
the equivalent
call
of a
that.
white man calling a black person a nigger, because that's basically what you're saying. So that was significant of the word. But we've seen over time that people use the word coon so much in recent history that it's lost its potency.
I
Like
agree
it,
with that for real.
because
Because go ahead, my bad.
but no, that goes to show you that we can overcome these slurs, and really what it is witchcraft. And I know people are going to roll their eyes when I say this, but all witchcraft is having control over something. So, like when you cast a spell on somebody, right? All you doing is you're controlling them from what they want their will to do and what you want them to do. So that word is actually a spell that can be cast on you that can turn you into something that you're naturally not.
So I can put this in real quick. Like go back to the word coon. Like it was
Mm-hmm.
a time from my experience, like when somebody call you that coon word is like physical on site. Like that was actually more potent than, you know, like you, how dare you even try to put me in that, you know, bracket. But
Right.
now if I get called that or something, it's like, you know, they're just ignorant. They don't, you know, like how one of our people will call another one of us a coon if they like feel as though that they're doing something that's against our agenda or something. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? It got watered down because it was used so much. But I could agree with you because back then that was real physical action. Like if somebody even called you that on
Yeah,
GP.
because what you were saying was the translation of coon is you a white man's nigger.
Oh yeah, 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 you're right. You're
Like
right. That's
that's
exactly what it
that's
felt
the
like.
translation of it. But
You working for.
it would come from a black person. And like you said that word used to get you hurt. And then even going back further generations, 2, 3 generations ago, it would get you killed.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it was but one thing I want to say to people is, and think about this, what is the equivalent of nigger for white people? There isn't one.
You going, my
There
bad.
there there isn't one. Hello?
Yeah, my bad. I had mute the mic because you know I didn't want to like override you talking. But you said there isn't one, and like I was telling you to keep going because I didn't know where you was going with this.
No, because they set it up that way. They don't want to give you something that you can make them come out of the bag on you and you can take control over them.
I mean, yeah, like you said, it's kind of it's funny, but like how you said with witchcraft, because at the time that other word was like on site, like GP, especially if another brother call you that in
Mm-hmm.
front of a like you know your people, oh, it's over with. Yeah, it ain't gonna end well. And after a while, with Dr. Umar Johnson, you know, like just many of the people from our community on the internet, they hit
Mm-hmm.
each other with that. It kind of just got watered down. Like it's like, all right, whatever. But when it comes to the nigga though, it just I don't know what like I'm just
Because
lost.
the thing is, because it's the power relationship. If a white man calls you that, he's showing he has power over you. That's why it is not an equivalent to go back the other way from black people to a white person, because they won't build that into the system because they don't want you to give you that kind of power.
So okay, not to go off topic real quick, but Mo, let's say if it was like you know I got love for my amigos. Let's say if it was towards
Mm-hmm.
the Latinos or the Asians, like you know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying, like from different areas, they be I guess they're amongst the group, they're cool with that, but they go to another area and they just go off the rails with that, and you just hit them with another slur like that was like I used earlier. Like you hit them with that as an endearment, like how they using the word nigga as an endearment. You know what I'm saying?
But the
Is that
thing
like an
is,
issue?
who created all of these slurs? The slurs all come from the same source,
Oh yeah,
because
okay.
he
Let me
had to
put me
have
on
a
something.
control mechanism over all the people that he considers to be competition.
Okay,
That's just
yeah.
like your woman. She has a control mechanism over you. All she has to do is say you're inadequate. You know what I'm saying? You got a small D.
Or you're a little boy or something, like you
Well,
know.
boy is one, but they're saying the one that really, even if it's not true, you know what I'm saying? Even if it's not true, that's their go-through. You could, you know what I'm saying, and excuse me for being vulgar, but you could have been just got through blowing her back out yesterday. And the
Okay.
first thing she goes to, because she knows that it's used in the same way. It's used to demean you, to dehumanize you. Like you said, they start with the boy, and if the boy doesn't work, then they go to you're saying the last call. And that, well, I'll show you, if a person says that to you, that shows you that they're trying to hurt you. Just like if a white person calls you the N-word, they're trying to hurt you. That's like actual verbal violence in a way.
So put it this way, I'm from, shouts out to Soft Move. We both from South Carolina, and we all know that if it's a European man come up to you, or police officers, or just a damn regular Joe around the corner, if they come to you and be like, come here, boy, or what you doing, boy, is on site. Like, that I haven't, witnessed that or experienced, somebody calling me a boy, in my face. But
Mm-hmm.
you get what I'm saying? Like that word
Oh,
is kind of like,
and to
you know
be
what I'm
honest,
saying?
boy is a far worse slur to me
That's what I'm saying. Like
than
that's
the
why I don't know if it's
N-word.
South Carolina. I don't know if it's from South Carolina or North Carolina, but because when you ask somebody in California, they're like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying?
Because like I remember growing up, my grandfather and father didn't even like the term homeboy that came from, you know, saying hip hop.
Okay.
They,
Now you
they,
okay.
they was like, oh no, you don't let nobody call you no boy. You know, no, not, no, because what that meant, the same thing. It was to make you inadequate, to say you're not a man. That's what they're saying. And when somebody calls you not a man, and this is one of the questions me and you talk behind the scenes about, which one are we more identified with, our race or our gender? You know, our personality is made up way more of our gender than our race. So when somebody either calls you either something that denotes that you're not a grown man, or either call you the B word to denote, you're saying that you're not a man at all, those are fighting words. So, but the thing is the N word has been so charged up and baked into our culture to be this, like I said, it's a linchpin. It's like, okay, all call, it's like what's that, break in the case of emergency? That's the one. That's the
Yeah.
one they can go to bring you out and trigger you. But what I want to point out is the fact that if that's the case, then no matter who says it or how it's said, we should check these people. But yet and still, we let people from outside our group, China Mac and Cardi B and all these other people run around. And not only, it's be different if you were saying it, but they're saying it to profit and to endear themselves into our culture, and that's a problem. And then that's what you see with Joe Biden, excuse me, Hunter Biden, which I know he got it from his father. And I'm sure his father, if I was a betting man, I don't know this for sure, but if I was a betting man, I'm sure he probably called Barack it before a time or two. Now, not in the words you're saying and demeaning him, but he had that comfort level
Yeah,
because Joe
exactly.
Biden understand. Joe Biden is a Negro speaker or a Negro whisperer. That's his real power.
What the fuck? My bad. What the fuck was that? Like, oh, excuse my language. Oh, like it remind me like the dog whisperer or something. Like what?
Yes, that's exactly what he is. He's one of those white people that, and you from South Carolina, you know what I'm talking about. There's a foreman or a supervisor in the warehouse. He's that one white guy that's over all the black guys that he knows how to talk to them to get them working.
Yeah,
You know
that's
exactly what I'm saying. You know, and it's
and they fall for it. Some of the brothers be falling for it. It's like It's just in a different coding, you know,
Right,
different
because
language.
he's a Negro whisperer. He can say he can say like no, he can push that line. Now he won't push the N-word line,
No, 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 no.
or sometimes they'll let him. It depends on how well they know him, you know. But he can push that line, and he knows the psychology of black people, and that's Joe Biden. Because when you listen to his corn pop story, he tells you that.
Okay, let me go ahead and try to pull. You want me to pull that up
Yeah,
later
go ahead
on?
and play the corn pops for people that haven't heard the corn pop story.
Cause I haven't really heard listened to it fully either myself. You know what I'm saying? All right, corn pop story. Let me go ahead and put that up right here. I appreciate y'all in the chat, man. And yeah, Don is right. They do be trolling the heck out of Pope. Like they be, you know, trying to like threaten her, talking
But
about.
I want to say this while you pulling that video up. This is why these bots are built in with racial slurs, because they know how to trigger people. Well, I mean, they know the go-to. I mean, I've dwelled in enough places. When I say I pay attention to everything till the truth reveal itself, I actually pay attention to everything. And when you dwell in these so-called, you notice if it be a black video and it's talk about uplifting us, they always come in with "we was kings" and ish. You know what I'm saying? They love that "we was kings" and they spell it Kangz, kings, and that's a troll. That's a troll that's trying to take the conversation off of something positive that black people are having, you know what I'm saying, to take it negative. So
I mean,
yeah, so when these trolls come to you, they come to you with the trigger words, and the same thing with the MAGA people. And we all have it. Like white people, the going for one right now between intra white people slurs is cuck. I don't know if you know what that is or not.
is that like somebody who let their wife have uh menage, whatever you call that word, you know, sexual
That's
relations?
when they let their wife have extramarital affairs with other men. Most of the time being with black men.
I heard about that. Somebody taught me. Somebody told me about that word. I think it was this year. I figured out what that was because I never under like. What was it again? Coke.
Cuck is
Oh, cuck.
Cuck. And the reason why white conservative call white liberals that, because they say basically y'all are bowing down to black people and black people's will. You're saying you're being a cuck for them. Or it's saying in a more general term that you're not a real man. You know what I'm saying? So that's I mean, like I said, these terms we have to look at these slurs because it's not exclusive to us. They load these bots up with these slurs depending on the audience, and they know which ones get us. They know hanging get us, lynching get us, the N-word gets us.
No, no. You know what? You know for real quick, Mo. But
Mm.
they said something about like was it grape soda and fried chicken and watermelon. They be putting that emoji thing like that be getting you. Like I don't. I'm just not hip to
None of
that.
it gets me. You know why? Because
Or
if you have the mentality like you can say what you want to me, but you ain't gonna put your hands on me. If you have that mentality, or you're not gonna disrespect me to the point in front of my wife and children. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, I had to remain a man. But what I would say to people is that don't let yourself be baited into a situation as well, because you can end up throwing
oh
everything away. And that, like I said, that racist ends up walking away from the situation, maybe end up suing you, you in jail, your kids is hungry, your wife and they out on the street, all because you can't, you know what I'm saying? Like the Bible say, pride before the fall. You
yeah,
know, you
I agree with that probably for the fault, but it's like that's why I'm glad we talking about this because that's how many of us was programmed. It was like we got so many think about it. Indigenous people got so many like what do you call it, rules or codes, G codes or whatever that
mm-hmm.
cannot be violated. You know, like
Keeping it
was it
real.
keeping it real and it's messed up. It's a psychological warfare and it's really a trap, you know,
It's
mentally a
the
trap. Go ahead.
excuse I mean to cut you off, but it's the nigga mind. And I don't say that disparagingly. I know people hear me say that, they might get frustrated with me. But when you grow up as a child, you have your normal mind. But at a certain age, you start getting, and me and you talked about it, the malware. It's the nigga programming. It's like, what would a real nigga do? And we say that, like, what would a real, you're saying, like, I'm a real nigga, you know, that kind of thing. And it's this programming in us that goes counterintuitive to what we know is right. It's like, okay, say for instance, somebody drop $100 out they wallet that you don't know them. A real nigga gonna keep it.
I get what you're saying. Like that's
Like
not
what?
good. I like just to no, not with the wallet thing, because it's like put it this way. Like I'm gonna tell something from my childhood when I was getting into books. So I was just talking about it. I wasn't reading books yet, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and check this book and all that. I
Mm-hmm.
had somebody who I grew up with was like, man, niggas don't read what you talking about. Like, you know what I'm
That's
saying?
the
Like,
that's the nigga mind. And what it
and that
is
messed
these
up.
expectations that are set up for us that we had to live by that are really unachievable. And to be productive, you can't have a nigga mind and be productive. And like I said, this is nothing against us because this is a well formulated plan. And like I said, they have this mindset for everybody. It's just this is just the one that's tailored for us. Just like what you have, like you can't run the same malware on an Apple that you can IBM, right? You know, you have to have you got to have two different codes because they function in different. The computers function in different ways. They have the nigga mind for us, and that nigga mind, like I said, we battle with it all the time. That's where Dave Chappelle's famous skit came from when keeping it real goes wrong, because that nigga mind is constantly running in the background, and it's what he say? What? Like I know he ain't trying to disrespect me. Oh hell no, I can't let that ride. You know, you see what I'm saying? Like these are all triggers, and we always talk about what you know what I ought to do? If I was you, I would have. You know, we talk in these terms. I wish a nigga would. You know what I mean? Like it's like what? And it's shaped in us. And me having kids and having teenage age kids now, I see when the nigga programming starts to affect them. Because when you have kids, all they want to do is watch cartoons and color and everything like that. And then they hit about maybe 10, 11, 12, 13, somewhere around that age. And then they start getting around people in school that expects them to act like a nigga. And then that's when the Disney goes away. And that's when the
Man.
kid bop goes away. And they start listening to music that they're expected to listen to.
And you're right about that. And this, I'm glad what's his name, Young Muskie, he was up in there. He was like, you gotta fight dudes because you skate. It's funny, but it's fucked up. And that is true. And I had responded to him. I said that's why I had took favor in when I was growing up. It was Odd Future and Tyler the Creator when it was not just what the lyrics they was doing, it was just they were doing something different. They was not following the proper program that was, held upon us. Like
Mm-hmm.
niggas don't skate, niggas don't, like all that whole crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, niggas don't swim, niggas don't fish, niggas
Don't
don't hunt.
swim, fish, wear Vans, or rap
Like,
about, yeah, all that. It's not, come on, like this, it's getting, just knock it off. But yeah, you're right though.
and the perfect case of the nigga mind to study it, to see it in play is Drake. I'm gonna
Okay, can you explain
I'm
that,
gonna
please?
I'm gonna explain to you why. Drake was not raised here. Drake was not raised as American or American black. So when he comes here, he has to boast his nigga mind to gain acceptance. That's why he always referred to H-Town, Memphis, these places that he can attach himself to prove that he has the nigga mind. But when he's given an interview, he speaks with this kind of British accent. And it's like, what's going on here?
Perfect example, real quick, Mo, was when he was doing that commercial with that I forgot, it was that comedian, a sister of ours. She had told him to sit on her lap, and you saw how he was acting and talking and all that. It was like real niggas wouldn't do nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Like the programming was off. But I get what you're saying. Like he was acting completely different. Like he usually would have been on some don't even play with me like that, Ma. But he actually had got up and sat on her lap. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because he's also a nigga whisperer. He understands the
Damn.
black psychology. And he says, okay, what do I have to say? How do I have to carry myself to communicate with the American Negro? And like I said, I'm not using that word in a derogatory way. I'm telling you, they have us programmed in this way. And that's what they talk about. When W.E.B. Du Bois talks about the double consciousness of the Negro. It's that we're able to see ourselves, and we're able to see ourselves how white people see us. And it's this constant battle going on in us that it's that I would say this, but the white man might take it this way. But then black people might take it this way that think I'm trying to cater to the white man. And it's like a fractal. Have you ever held a mirror in front of a mirror? And it's like a constant reflection of each other.
It goes down like a trance, a tunnel kind of.
Right. That's what you get into. Because now it's like, do I keep it real? Or do I speak this way? Because white people might think I'm too black, or black people might think I'm too white. And you what happens is you become paralyzed in thought.
And paralysis, can you explain like what, like the symptoms, not symptoms, but
What's
like,
called paralysis analysis, right? You ever heard that
oh
term?
yeah.
That's what I'm saying, because you're thinking like, how do I say this? But I don't want to use broken English because they might think I'm uneducated. But if I talk too proper, then they might think I'm too white. And then then you're not yourself anymore.
Whoa. Okay, my bad, not to cut you off real quick,
Yeah,
but
go
can I
ahead, please.
say, subconsciously, I had endured that. What was it? I'll say like beginning of this year, like the second month of this year, I was already, on this level right here. But subconsciously, I was like, hold up. I was like, yeah, I'm kind of getting too intellect. Like, I don't think they understand me. Like, let me go back to my roots with it. Like, let me real talk like gutter, because
Why is that though? Why can't
I'm
we
gonna
just
tell you, I didn't know subconsciously. I just realized this not too long ago, but it was like on some, when I speak or when I talk and I use vocabulary, like this is really me right here. But when I talk, and it's like some people who come on the internet and they see me, they like, bro, this nigga green as hell, man. He ain't never did no wild shit. Like suburb kid. So I think that's subconsciously like made me like, nah, I really been with the shit. Like it's a program. That's what I'm saying. But now I'm back to me being me, like how I am right now. You get what I'm
really
saying?
what you want to get to, and this is just me personally speaking, is when you get to the point where you don't think about how people are going to receive things. You think more how
Yes,
you want to say things, not how it's going to be received, but I'm giving more thought into what I want to say. And this is
exactly.
where black people struggle at, because while our counterparts, their brain doesn't even have to you know computers. Computers is a finite resource, right? And if it's running
Yes.
too many programs in the background, it's going to lag. That's what's happening with us. We're running all these programs of now, and then you throw feminism in there. You throw, oh well, I can't say this because women might take it this way. But if I say this too soft, then I'm a simp. And then the white man might think I'm not educated, but then black people think I'm too educated. And I don't
Oh
want to be a
yeah.
simp though. You know what I'm saying? But I want to be a real nigga. And it's like constantly all of these thoughts are going on at once.
Mo, can you please bring that back, and can you please re-explain that, because that is very important for my young brothers coming up though. What
So
you just
so
said.
so basically, when say if you're talking to a group of people and you want to communicate how you feel right now in this climate that we're in, we can't say, well, I can't say it too softly because I'll be a simp. And then I can't say it too forcefully because I'll be a misogynist or a woman hater. And then I can't say it too intellectually because then I'll seem like a coon or a sellout. But then I can't say it too roughly, or I gotta speak with perfect diction, because even if I mumble my words, you being from the South, we struggle with this. This is another thing exclusive to Southern people, which I love Kwame Brown for, that when you use Southern diction, it's already baked in that you're ignorant.
Like Geechee can't even talk and be like, you ain't even putting your word together like that. Like how Kwame he talk, that's like the stereotype of unintelligent brother, which is dumb if you ask me. But go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that's all I'm just saying is that is what holds us back. That is real racism. Because you have to tailor yourself to be acceptable and not just say, you know what, I'm going to say this with my chest, and however it lands, it lands. And you don't learn this until like you're 30 years old as a black man. That's why people think Kanye is so crazy. I mean, he kind of says some wild things, but he says what he wants to say. And that's how we all should be. As long as you can live with the consequences.
I agree. I definitely agree on that. Like that's why perfect example was Kanye or how he acted. People be like, "What the hell?" They'll say something about the sunken place. You know, like the movie Get Out. They'll be like, "Okay, he's in the sunken place and all that." So is that kind of like a propaganda, like a tactic they use? Like when he says
That's
something real.
another tactic because they want to put him back in it because he's talking too freely. And it's like, well, only a white man. Well, this is what they're saying. Well, only a white man would talk like that. So what are you saying? Like black
That's
people
crazy.
can't speak freely?
Yeah, and real quick, my bad on Moe Factz, but shouts out to TD Hip Hop. He said this thing is like 3 minutes, and this goes in alignment of what you're saying right
Oh no,
now.
let it rock. Let it rock.
It's like three
Shout out to
minutes, and hopefully
TD.
don't look.
Yeah,
Yeah,
shout out to TD too.
yes sir. Oh, I hope no echo.
YouTube was the worst thing to happen to black scholarship. The very worst thing to happen to black scholarship because we too taken in by it. It's too easy to dupe you with a YouTube video. I hear these people arguing passionately. It is. It's the truth. Because dude said it on a YouTube video. Dude, you never seen? You know, friend. But I want to clarify in closing because the other reason I love these two brothers is I love integrity. I hate my biggest. See, Farrakhan taught me to love integrity. That's why I love that man. His integrity is divine. I don't care what your ideology is. I've never seen a human being whose integrity and character is what Farrakhan's is. See, that's the type of human being that I want to be. I don't care your religion. If you respect character and integrity, then you should shut your mouth from all this talk about Farrakhan, Dianetic, Scientology, this, that. Sick in the head. And you a nigga, right? You a nigga wallowing in your niggerdom. What I mean, not you. Ain't no niggas up in here. I'm talking about them. See, a nigga is what a nigga does. God is what God does. And I'm adamant that if your Islam, your Maya, your Scientology, if it don't de-niggify you, don't throw that in the trash. If it don't de-niggify you, if it don't stop you and me from being a nigga, and a nigga is a real thing. I don't use nigga as a term of endearment. Nigga is the distinct creation of American white supremacy.
Mm-hmm.
Nigga is white supremacy's Frankenstein. White supremacy's Frankenstein is causing havoc in our community. And they feared it's going to, like Frankenstein did, turn against its maker. So much that is going on in the black community, proliferation of guns, drugs, the feminization of the black man is to keep Frankenstein from turning against his maker. But it's inevitable. It will happen, but the nigga is a real thing. And we all, as sons and daughters of the American slave experience, we are born in the nigga sin and shaped in the nigga iniquity. So we all have a de-niggification process that's required. So we need to look in the mirror and see how our niggification process has advanced. And if your religion, your nationality, whatever you, if your dean don't de-niggify you, toss that trash in the garbage. It's useless. It's useless. So I say on this.
Yep.
I appreciate you, TD Hip Hop. I didn't know, like, that's my first time viewing that and going,
That's my first time hearing it as well. But you hear that we're all on the same path. And I want to show you this. America can make a nigga out of anybody. Don't get it twisted. Do not get it twisted, because what we've seen for the last 4 years is America made 45 Savage a nigga. They gave him the nigga treatment.
I hear you. Keep going, my brother.
No, just look at how if you looked at how they treated 45 Savage, you would have thought they would treat Obama like that. If I brought you back from another planet and showed you two presidents and say, okay, the media is gonna cover one like this and one like this, you would have thought the treatment that Donald Trump got, they would have gave to Obama.
Correct.
But it wasn't that way.
No.
It's because anybody that's gonna upset the apple cart, and when I say white supremacy, I mean it by the terms of Neely Fuller, not doctor, but the brother Honorable Neely Fuller, and the fact that it's a one world government.
Yeah, and can you please get into that, because when people say that word, they're thinking about the propaganda, the stereotype of a Karen or a Jim and all that. Can you please get more, give them the bigger picture on it?
No, but that's exactly how it works. They'll put up the sacrificial lamb of the Karen or the Ken or the Hick or the redneck. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, all of these are white supremacy, and none of them have no power at all. Zero.
That's what I'm trying to say. Can you, give them the bigger? Because when I hear it, it's like, okay, they probably gonna think of it like this. They're gonna think of it as like one dimension, like, oh, it's him in the truck and he got the Confederate flag in the back and all that.
They think Bubba, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
white
Bubba, yeah.
sheets. They think white sheets, and no, the biggest white supremacists wear $10,000 suits.
Yeah, can you go to can it could look like they could look like us?
Oh yes, they can definitely look like us as well, and we're seeing this with our women. And that's okay. You know what? I'm gonna go here for a second, because I don't like the term that Minister Jap uses, just because of the equating black women to dogs. But I understand how he uses it, and it's pretty spot on. So this is one of the terms that I struggle with, because it's accurate in the sense of they've turned some, let me be clear, some, and I would say a very small percentage of our women into attack dogs against us.
Correct. Okay.
That's why he uses the term German Shepherd, which I struggle with that, because I know how I can empathize with people who say we've been equated to dogs for so long that, you know what I'm saying? I understand. But if you want to say if it's accurate or not, it's very accurate, because they can turn anybody into attack dogs. And I don't know if people are familiar with the book Animal Farm or not. Basically, I'm gonna give you a 2-minute synopsis of that book.
Okay.
What ended up happening was the farm animals ended up taking the farm over from the humans. And the pigs, what they did was they moved into the house and lived like humans, and they used they took the dogs with them. And the dogs maintained control of the farm and exploited the rest of the animals while the pigs lived like humans. So when you hear that term dog, it's not talking about an actual dog. It's like it's a control mechanism that's given a certain amount of power. And I use that with the movie Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin.
Yeah.
It's like an arm of white supremacy. Like the sheriff felt so comfortable. And I think his name was Hoppin' John or whatever it is, his sidekick, the sheriff's sidekick.
You saw the guy who been watching the fence? Go ahead.
Right, with the gun line. Tell him what the gun line is, boss. You know
what was his name again?
I think it was Hoppin' John, if I'm not mistaken. So basically, when a white person feels so comfortable that they can give you a loaded gun, you are a member of white supremacy. And that's why we see our young brothers in the streets today. That's why the white man feels comfortable giving them assault rifles and military grade weapons, because they know they dare not turn it on their master. That's white supremacy.
I'm glad you had broke it down like that because in those people who don't know what was it, Hoppin' Bob?
I think it
That's
was
his
Hoppin'
name.
Bob or Hoppin' John one.
He's a brother, but that's what he mean by when he talk about white supremacy. He's not talking about the guy who got the missing teeth, Jim, who has a farm and all that. Nah, this is like who's in the system, who's working against it. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to pull the image up. My bad.
Yeah. So what I'm doing is I'm bringing this full circle. So now you see this is the boule. The boule is an arm of white supremacy. The boule is the same one that gave us Joe Biden and told it was okay for him to tell us we weren't black if we didn't vote for him. And let me be very clear on my politics. If you don't have anything tangible for black people, if you're not talking reparations, nobody deserves my votes. It could be my mama. I'm gonna just keep it 100 with you. If you don't have anything tangible for my people, you don't get my vote. So don't get it twisted like I'm being political on one side or the other. What I'm being is impartial and using my brain like a judge and say, you know what, I'm gonna judge these things equally. Now we have this man here that locked many of black people up with the crime bills that he passed. His son is running around saying the N-word, and all these sorry white supremacist aides are not saying anything. Where's your Don Lemons at? Where are all these big talkers at now? Because they master won't let them talk.
Is Al Sharpton part of them? I ain't
it's Al Sharpton too. Well, I'm saying if anybody that was trying to sell you Joe Biden, where they at now? When this news comes out, Twitter
like
trying to suppress it.
Charlemagne the God too. I remember.
Yeah, where all of them at? No, they're nowhere to be found, and that's what I'm saying. We have to overcome them first before we can even think about taking on white supremacy.
But again, real quick, Mo, when you say white supremacy, it's like it's a good way to throw them off because when they got the word white on it, it's that image. Remember that programming? It's like when you say that word, they think about what they see on the news and the media, which was the Karen and the Hank and all that. You know what I'm saying? And it's deeper than that. It's bigger than that. It's not that one dimensional. But you know what I'm talking about. You are explaining it, but I'm just trying to say it again.
That's exactly why I love following up Bobby, because Bobby's telling you white is not a color.
Okay.
White is a legal status.
White
is a social and a legal status. To say, and they let, like I said, Barack Obama is brown. Yes. But he's legally white.
Yeah, in the judicial system, my bad, I can't pronounce the word. The legal law system, yeah. I mean, that's what Bobby's trying to say, but you gotta take time for it to digest for some people to be like, to see it. That's why I was kept on repeating it, but you on point.
Because what they do is they equate it with melanin. How much melanin you have in your skin.
Yeah.
And that's not the proper way to look at it. It's the proper way to look at it is what's in your heart? What's in your mind? Because right now, we should be and that just tells you, how is it that white people feel so comfortable that they give our warrior class military grade weapons and they know they will not cross that threshold? They know where the gun line is. Can you not see it?
I mean, it is what it is. Shouts out to AO off the Big Facts podcast because he played a video about these boys in Detroit. Not my bad. These young men in Detroit, these brothers, was firing off their weapon in traffic, and there was a police officer right across the street, and he ain't did nothing. And they were in the car laughing, talking about, "Oh, yeah, bitch, he ain't ha ha," just laughing, saying the cop ain't did nothing. But that's the white supremacy right there, because he's allowing that to happen because he know the gun line is you're not going to kill a damn, a Caucasian or nothing. You going straight to, you know what I'm saying? It makes sense.
No, but they'll tell you that. They'll tell you straight up. They'll say what? They'll say straight up, man, I ain't going around no good white folks. They'll give you more time.
I mean, it is, like
they know the gun line. They know the gun line.
But it was a trick though. That's what I'm saying. That video where those young men was in that car, it was like 3 or 4 of them. They were laughing, saying that the police, the white police officer, even though it's not supposed to be color, but when you think of police officer, you think of a white man. When they did that and he did nothing, they was laughing because he was pussy. He was scared. But no, the Uno reverse card, the trick is on us. It's the gun line. He know how far that they will step and do it. So yeah, My
That's
bad, brother.
exactly right. And that's why you notice when we have so-called these riots or whatever else, or this unrest, they know their imaginary line. They know I'm not going to cross this line right here because I know this will get, at the closer I get to white society, the numbers go up. Like that's crazy how Bobby was saying it with the getting closer to their Facebook. Every time you take a step closer, it goes up $10,000. That's the same way it is when you commit crimes. The closer in miles you get to white communities, your time goes up on your sentence.
You're right. You're right. That. I mean, it is what it is. Like we all know that it's not even an imaginary line. It's there. We already know that line. It ain't gotta be physical and visible for us to see. It's just mental.
Yeah, these things are etched in our brain, and that's what go back to like I said, the malware that's put in us at a very young age, and it's happening younger and younger. And what they're trying to do now, and what I'm covering in my show now, is the programming of sexuality. That's a component of white supremacy as well.
All right, real quick before you get into that though, I got a question, my brother Mo. What do you think about since you're saying that it's about the melanin, it's about the skin. Like when they think about that, like if you're black, how black are you, and if you're white, how white are you, right? So, what do they think about my brother Ike? You know, Ike is albino, by the way.
No, that's what I'm saying. It has nothing to do with melanin. Honestly,
it has nothing to do with it. You're right, but I'm just saying, like, how does that go in the mental false realm that was created upon us, the Western indoctrination?
Well, we will look at him as different because we will say, oh, well, he, you know what I'm saying, he has certain, this is a crazy mind trick we're playing ourselves, where he must have certain privilege that we don't have. And that's where colorism comes from, right? That, oh she's light skinned, so she gets certain privileges that I don't have. You know, which to be honest with you, is really beauty privilege. I mean, beautiful people have a certain privilege that they're given in life. So you could be light skinned but ugly, and you ain't gonna have the privilege.
Yeah, I have yet seen a beautiful, no matter what color the woman is, or the complexion of it, a beautiful sister complain about, you know, the colorism. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It
as
could
long as
go
you're
down
attractive. I mean, and that's one thing about it. Most men, and colorism really tends to lean towards women, other than, you know, men. We think, and this is part of the nigga mindset too, that light skinned men are weaker.
No, see, like who created this stuff, Mo? Like let's be honest real quick before we get into this. Who created this bullshit? Like, we got the black and white, okay, we got that, but the brown paper bag thing that was taught when I was a kid, that was taught towards me about, if you fail this brown paper bag, you can't act up like that. You see, look at Chris Brown, you see he could do that, but you can't. Like, who created this bullshit right here? Excuse my French.
That comes from the plantation mindset, because everybody wants to talk about the house nigga and the field nigga, right? And it's like the house niggas were light and the field niggas were dark. But we got to ask ourselves, how did the light house niggas get light?
I mean, there we go. Now he's attacking it. Okay, boom.
The house niggas got light because them was master's children. That's why they were given privileges.
Okay, I see where this is going now. I didn't like. That's why I was trying to figure out where the heck that came from.
It had nothing to do with, oh, you have this amount of melanin in your skin. No, it was the fact that you had the reason why you had that less amount of melanin in your skin, and it was because what? It was because you were fathered by a white man, and the white man would say, you know what? That's my half child, so you still got to be a slave, but I ain't gonna make it as hard on you.
What the fuck? Yeah, that's crazy, man. Like, you just taught me something I didn't know. Like, I knew about the, the house slave, and I know about the rape that was, did upon our ancestors with it. But dang, I didn't know that mindset originated from it. Like, the rights. But hold on, it says plantation mindset.
Let me finish the plantation mindset. So what you had was, you had a subclass of what in South Africa they would call colored. That was the mulattoes. And it was like, well, you're not technically white, but you're not black either, right? So it's like, let's keep the house niggas near the house, give them some of the creature comforts, and then they'll be loyal to us. and then we'll dangle over their head that they can be free when we die, which most of the time it wasn't the case, but that kept them in line.
The police originated from that and the sharecropping. But keep going, my brother.
Yeah. So what ends up happening is, if you were light skinned, you wouldn't let your children marry dark skinned because you're taking us backwards. I mean, that was the mindset, right? It was like that dark skin comes with troubles. This light skin gives us a certain like privilege. Now I don't think it's light or dark anymore. It's intellectual. It's like, how smart are you? How white is your mind? You know, oh, you went to school for 4 years. Oh, your mind is nice and white. Oh, 6 years. Oh, you got a master's degree. Oh, that's a nice pristine white mind. Oh, PhD. Oh, we're loving you. Not to cast aspersions to anybody, but what I'm saying is that's the mentality. And it's like, if we get you in behind these white walls for long enough, then you're going to start thinking like us. And then we start giving you some of the privileges that we have with that doctorate degree or master's degree. Then, you know what I'm saying, you're going to be ostracized from your people, so you have no choice but to work for us.
I get it now. It's like the mindset. Be real. It's kind of like the military, to be honest. It's like, and you forget that I've seen people who do like 15, no offense, but like some people who do 15 or 20 years is like, you got to drink the Kool-Aid, which is like, you know, get brainwashed to play that game, to rank up, to move up. But people get so, we call it in too deep, that once they get to that rank and they get that privilege and all that behind the walls, they don't know that they're programmed and they don't know how to get out of that brainwash. You get what I'm saying? But,
and no matter how far you go up in as a non-commissioned officer, you'll never be an officer.
No,
you never go to the officer club.
I'm glad you said that.
You could be high rank. You could be a high rank non-commissioned officer, but and this explain to people, like when you go in the military, you can go as a non-commissioned or commissioned. Basically, commission means you can go up the officer ladder.
Intellect part,
right? That's the thinking man's army. So you can have somebody with a higher rank and being a non-commissioned officer, but they still can't go to the officers club. They don't get treated with the same amount of respect as an officer does. You see what I'm saying? That's the same principle as whiteness.
That's messed up. And it's like, to be honest, to sum it up, what he's saying is that non-commissioned officer is pretty much the jock, and the commissioned officer is pretty much the nerd, in like the high school terms, off the stereotype, which is not true, but you know, like that's how they trying to play it. Am I right, Mo?
Or the house slave and the field slave. It's the same thing.
To each his own. Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm not being disparaging to anybody. What I'm just saying is that's the same mentality. It's the inside and the outside. It's the in club and the people on the outside. And they have that in whenever you're building a society, they have to have these groupings because they have to keep people divided. And when I say they, what I'm talking about is the people that have the real power. That's why they come in and co-opt anybody that has a voice, because they say, you know what, we got to co-opt them. And the way they co-opt you is with women, money, whatever you're saying your kinks are. Notice why every black celebrity almost always has a kink, because they like, okay, come on, we know you freaky, Bill. We know you like to do this allegedly. You know, whoever R. Kelly, we know you like to do this allegedly. I'm gonna say his name, Charlemagne. We know you. Let's just go to Charlemagne for a minute. He's the perfect example. We know we have this thing hanging over your head. We have full control of what you can and can't say. And that's why I'm saying colorism doesn't matter anymore. Because they say, you know what, he has the look of an authentic Negro. And he's from the South. And I'm gonna tell you like this, I'm gonna just get that, not harp on Charlemagne, you know what I'm saying? Because I'll say this about Charlemagne. Even though what he's accused of, every black man deserves to be considered innocent until proven guilty. And I don't want to. That's another way we can feed into white supremacy as well when we start becoming a lynch mob.
Go ahead, my bad. Go ahead.
No, so what I'm saying about Charlemagne is they see people like him, and they know he has something hanging over his head, and they're like, look, you're dark skinned, you have a Southern dialect, you even say straight and screet. Oh, that's beautiful. The Negroes will eat you up. It's like, let's put him in the power. Let's give him a platform, because they'll never see him coming. And he said some things, and White Daddy will be like, oh, yeah, that's cute. but you know you better not step out of line, or we'll drop the hammer on you. And that's the way the system works.
I mean, it's strategic because let's be real. I remember I been stopped listening to the Breakfast Club because they used to always do the little that he used to be saying something about the mayonnaise and stuff. You get what I'm saying? Like they allow him to do that. You know, like it's a facade. That's what I'm saying. And Charlemagne, he's from where I'm from. He's from Monk's Corner. And this case right here been going on since '06. So since '06, they already had him with that situation, which is crazy though.
Yeah, because
yeah.
I mean, that white people don't mind being mocked and made fun of if they're the ones that pay you to do it.
Exactly.
It's kind of like BDSM, and you know what I'm saying? Like when men go pay women to tie them up and beat them up, right? You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, who's in power there?
I mean, yeah. I mean, come on, man. You already know. It's that facade.
No,
it's like that image.
Just let that sink in for a minute. When you walk into that room and you can tell somebody, hey, I want you to beat me up and rough me up, who has the power?
The person who had told him to do that. Because this was in the Malcolm X autobiography book. He talked about, that's probably a different time. But yeah, there was these train CEOs, you know, on the train railroads back then. These white business owner people who own the trains, they went to, you know, Malcolm X and other pimps, you know, for their services to get like the darkest woman to bend them over and whip them. You get what I'm saying? So
then that goes back to the cucking. Like a lot of these dudes, black, and I'm gonna say this: the black men don't find yourself in that situation because the white man to go out and say, I want my wife to be, you know what I'm saying, taken by a big black man. And the black man think he's in power. No, he brought you in as a circus animal.
I said about this. I spoke about this. Real quick. I said, you know, the exotic pet leopard, the rich house slave, the rappers. Your favorite rapper is a rich house slave. To be honest, and I take that, like, not trying to be all, you know, disparaging with it, but just being real. Like they may come off as they got power and they could do these certain things, but nah, they just a rich house slave. You know.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you see this thing with the Black Lives Matter and they're saying, oh, white people are so bad, and the white liberals like, oh yeah, we are bad. Yeah, it's not but another form of BDSM. It's like whip us, yes. And then they can go home relieved, like, whew, I feel so much better that I took that black lashing. Now let's get back to business. We're not gonna fix the the wealth gap or these things, but I feel so much better that I got my black whipping.
Yeah, like a church on Sunday. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying?
It's a mental masturbation, is what it is.
I mean, yeah, to be honest, man. But yeah, it is what it is. Oh, dang, my bad. I didn't know I had that comment still up on there. Yeah, my bad, Young Muskie. Dang.
Yeah, so like I said, I just want to chop it up with you, man, just to let people know, pay attention. If you notice whoever's not talking about this story, and if you haven't heard about this story, this goes to prove to you that the mainstream media is a propaganda machine, as most of us knew already, but this is a telltale sign. Because as you know, Grunt, you were saying you were pretty informed and you didn't even hear about this. And the people at all the social media websites have suppressed this story. So that tells you they're all in on it.
I mean, yeah, that is true. Like, I did not know how old is this? Like, I know they probably purposely, even if they purposely put it out there, you see how it still got like deflected. It wasn't like, you know, the TMZ or, you know, I mean, even it was even on Vlad website, but to be honest, not too many people go on Vlad website, not me, and watch the news. They'll usually watch like it off of Vlad video or something, you know what I'm saying? And that's another thing right there. So it got on media outlets like that, but when you go from Clinton News Network, I mean CNN, you know, it didn't show up. So yeah.
No, but the thing about it though, why Don Lemon is not having a 2-hour special about this right now? I mean, we're talking about the sensitivity of race in America and every little thing, you know, that we're sensitive about race, and now you have a sitting president that's been innuendo around him all week or since Judge Joe Brown did his interview, saying that he's been a racist, he's been a closeted, you know, saying right, and not closeted, open racist. He's been masked by the mainstream media, but now this story drops and nobody's covering it. See, you gotta take situations like this and you just sit on it and be like, okay, now I know who my friends and who my enemies are. You know, and we need to make decisions accordingly. And what I'm saying is, before Black people can have anything, we have to clean house. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm saying this. This has nothing to do with Grump. This has nothing to do. I'm gonna say that again. This has nothing to do with Grump. This is my own personal feelings. But you have to watch Negroes like Boule Boyce Watkins, because when he starts talking that 10%, I only want the 10%. That's that Boule talk. That's that talented 10th talk. That's that we intellectuals have to save Black people from themselves talk. You know, you had to have a certain intellect. And you know what? Their intellect is judged by the white standard that creates it. These college systems, these universities. It's like, you know what? To run a business, it takes way more brain power to run a truck business or a bread business or, you know, a dump truck business or a barbershop than it does to sit around and, you know, just talk all day.
That's what he's saying. So pretty much in the chat, what he's saying is that the way that Dr. Boyce Watkins was coming off was saying that the 10%, like, you know, disowning the other brothers, because I was a statistic. I was a victim of being lost. So he's pretty much portraying that energy to like ignore young men like me who are like, you know, coming up, who didn't have the knowledge or the proper tools to like, you know, become up there. You know what I'm saying? So he's pretty much saying now we only focus on the top 10% brothers who are intellectual, who went through, you know, Harvard or Yale University. It's not the brother who don't have a father or who's been influenced by the music, running the streets, and all you gotta do is just approach them and, you know, put something in their ear, and then they'll eventually turn over. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense, Mo?
And who decides what intelligence is?
I mean, you already know
a
the
man
answer.
that works with his hands could be just as intelligent or more intelligent than a person that works, you know, punching numbers into a computer. You know, but it's this white status that they've gotten their power from. Boyce thinks he gets his education warrants his intelligence. And it's like, if that's the case, then you know you need more than 10% of society. You never heard white people talk like this. Actually, Mitt Romney lost the election because he said that about the 40%, 47% of Americans, because they understand they need the masses. A minority is not going to save you, especially a minority of a minority. I hate that word, but I'm just saying in the technical term of a smaller percentage than 50%, it's not going to save you when it's time. We need all of us, and that's very divisive talk, and I'm very disappointed in him saying that. And like I said, that hasn't. I'm saying I don't say that, you know, to bring you into the conversation, but I just want to address that because we have to get off of that. I have a college degree. You know what my college degree is at? I have no idea.
Exactly. So y'all get what he's saying with Mo. The reason why he's really disappointed with Dr. Boyce for doing that was because, like, put it this way, you know, when you go in them suburb neighborhoods where there are mostly like European people around, and you see a Black family, right? And let's just say you're walking through there, they'll look at you with their nose high 9 out of 10. That's what he's kind of talking about, like putting I hate to say this, but the minority within the minority. Separate that.
And this is not new for Black people, because when we went through the Great Migration, the first wave and the second wave, the new Blacks in the North were treated bad by the Blacks that were originally there, because they didn't want to be lumped in with those. You know yourself. I mean, this is, like I said, we're not making it regional, but you know yourself, Southern Blacks are seen a certain way by everybody else.
From, like, let's be real. Okay, so what he's saying is like from the North. Shouts out Turbo from the North. But, you know, it's a stigma like from the North. Brothers from the North, when they come down to the South, Benny the Butcher became the victim of this. Shouts out Griselda. But it's like on some, when they come from the North, they come to the South and they be like, oh, you just a Southern nigga. Like, you talking all slow. Like, man, get your retarded ass. Like, they think that, you see how they separate it? You know what I'm saying? Like, they think the Southern people are slow. Does that make sense, Mo? My bad.
No, you're exactly right. Because they think because we speak slow that we think slow.
Exactly, like country. Oh yeah, your country ass nigga, man. Like, they'll talk fast, you know, like, hey, your son B, like, get your little country ass up. And then that's what caused a problem. That's like separating yourself. That's what he's really talking about. So I appreciate
it. And like I said, we all have that. We all have these, you know what I'm saying, racial issues. But I'm just saying, like, when you hear people try to divide us, Now the division needs to be: are you effective or ineffective? That's the real division. Are you productive or non-productive? That's the real division. Because at the end of the day, I don't care what you do, as long as you're productive, as long as you're effective, I need you on my side.
I mean, that's really the words that goes in collision with the words of Marcus Garvey, what he said. He said, if you're productive or prolific, we need you, you know. And if you're not, you know, there's no need for you to even participate. That's crazy.
Yeah, and that just goes to show you that you don't see them throwing their problem people away. You don't see him throwing Hunter Biden away. Now I'm gonna just break down the Bidens to you for a minute. Hunter Biden. Now he's allegedly, I don't say this, allegedly a crackhead, right? Then he ends up knocking up his brother's wife, dead brother's wife, getting her pregnant. His daddy's a racist kid sniffer, and that's okay.
I didn't know about the kid sniffer. What?
Oh, look at it! Look at the videos where he's sniffing women's hair and little girls' hair, and all. I mean, this ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? I ain't making this up.
Oh no, my bad. I didn't know. That's wild.
No,
man.
I'm just saying. Anybody can do a quick Google of creepy old Joe. All the videos out there on YouTube, man, scrub them. Where he, you know what I'm saying, where he's sniffing grown women and sniffing, you know what I'm saying, children. What I'm saying is that that's who they allow to be president, and we got such a high standard. And on top of that, when you go to the Clintons, okay, allegedly Chelsea is not Bill's daughter, and Bill got a half black son out here, and they from Arkansas. It's like, hold on, you see how they don't divide themselves up.
I understand where you're going at now with that. So that goes back again to the Dr. Boyce thing, because shouts out to his success and everything. You know, we're not knocking the brother for that, but we're just saying with that image that he portrayed about the 10%, is if we take that ideology and, you know, apply that within our society, we would not have nobody like Malcolm X, because Malcolm X was a pimp, a hustler, a booster, a drug addict. You know what I'm saying? And then he got locked up, went to prison, you know, over pimping that white girl. And he got the Nation of Islam bros. You get what I'm saying? So if we take that Dr. Boyce Watkins like ideology, you wouldn't be even approaching these lost young men and women out there. That's what I'm trying to say.
And not only that, but then you throw away hard-working truck drivers and plumbers and electrician, HVACs. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you mean?
Let's not down talk that. Yeah, my bad. I apologize about that. Let's not down talk on people who work with their hands, because there
That's
are
what
many
I'm saying.
geniuses.
Like, I mean, look, hey, my grandpa was a machinist for 30 years.
Exactly.
With a third grade education, but he could tear a machine down and put it back apart with nobody's business. And he was able to raise, you know what I'm saying, a family. And he was able to raise, you know what I'm saying, have assets when he passed away. He far achieved. And the thing wasn't that he was uneducated. It was the fact that at that time you had to drop out of school to go work in the field just so your family can make a living.
Exactly. And shouts out to God damn, he's a very prolific man. Very prolific. And what I mean by prolific, that means being like the book, being highly effective, way above average.
That's what I'm saying. So you gotta meet people where they are. We can't divide ourselves amongst lines of education and affluence. We had to divide ourselves, like I said, in being productive and efficient. And I'll say finally, the big staying on code. Because you notice white folks stayed on code. You know what white folks call code? Bipartisanship. They always find some stuff to agree about. It's like, oh yeah, we can be bipartisan on that. Oh, the tax cut, oh yeah, definitely bipartisan. Oh yeah. We can work together.
Yeah, like young Muskie said, starting a business used to be some normal-ish, supposedly. Back in the day, like after you dropped out school to work in the field, because there was agriculture going on at the time, right? Highly.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. A lot of you saying like these are things, and this is where white supremacy is so effective and efficient. That they define our narrative for us. It's so many black people that got rich off cotton, that bought hundreds acres of land off of farming and picking cotton.
Watermelon too. But yeah.
But watermelon too. Watermelon is one of the most healthiest foods you can eat. You can't go to any restaurant in this country and probably in the world and not find a form of chicken on the menu, but chicken is ours. You see how they do that?
That's why I'm talking about. That's why I'm glad I talked to you about that earlier, Mo, and with Bobby, because well, I talk about these trolls from the last live. They had the watermelon and the fried chicken and the grape, so and I just couldn't understand what the hell. And then I was like, is that shit still a thing? And I guess it's still a thing, like niggas like grape soda. Like I was like, what the fuck? It's crazy, bro.
They understand how to load those bots up with incendiary content. To what I'm saying, what they're trying to do, and this is what people got to understand, is they're trying to come in and break your attention from what's being said. I'm surprised they haven't been here tonight.
Exactly, which is surprising.
Right. So what they're trying to do is, like I said, is break our attention and our focus. And I've seen it all the time in these chats where somebody will make a great video, and then here comes this person that starts like, a perfect example, the Malcolm X thing. Get your hand out my pocket. It's the distraction.
Yes. Yes. Those don't know that. That's what one of the NOI people has said as a distraction, so they could like assassinate Malcolm X. But go ahead, my bad.
Right, but that's what they do. It's a form of gaslighting. The same way what they want to do is take your attention off of what's at hand and take the conversation somewhere else. People will do that in your real life. They'll start an argument with you to get you off your passion or your dream. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say. I'm saying, Grunt, I always like chopping it up with you. And if people don't know, man, this is how I usually our phone conversations go.
Yes, sir. Glad that it's on live, because this was very good intellectual property. I like how you had educated me on the colorism, with the house slave and all that, and the damn near the Willie Lynch mindset like that. And with hopping Bob off of life, where that is true, with that brother been on that fence line with a weapon, and how they trusted him to shoot one of his people if they try to escape. So that's why when you had talked about white supremacy, I'm glad you had went further into detail, because people be thinking about, the country hillbillies, having sex with their mother type stuff, white supremacy. No.
And like I said, just notice in this country right now, you can't find ammo.
No.
But somehow the hood is never a shortage of ammo.
That should mean something, right?
Everybody 30 round clip full. How does that work when there's a shortage of ammo in the country?
They got just as much ammunition when I was in the Army. They got the damn IOTV Kevlar. They got the damn 6 mag pouches, the extended mags, the monkey nuts. I meant we call them monkey nuts, but it's like the 100 round, drums on the Glocks. Yeah. They got the switches on the Glock, Glock 19, I think that's what it was. Where it go auto. Like, this should let y'all know something. Like, they got rocket launchers out here, RPGs, which is very dangerous, because not only you could blow up somebody's damn house with it, but if y'all don't know how to fire an RPG, that thing could peel your neck all the way down to your damn back. Like, it could really peel your head off. See, that's something right there. Like, but the rappers make it cool to have an RPG, like, like a terrorist. Right. So it's no type of weapon trainery whatsoever. But yeah, I'll let you go.
But think about that for a minute. They allow them to have that kind of weaponry. Now, would you give that kind of weaponry to your enemy?
No.
So what does that mean then? They're not their enemy.
Oh, dang. Okay, Yeah. It says these Glock switches all of a sudden ended up in Chicago. Yeah, Chicago, Illinois, which is by the biggest area where organ harvesting is at. That's exactly why they the propaganda where, excuse my French, we only shoot niggas in the head. We do headshots over here. We don't aim at nobody. Get a headshot. You got the heart, you got the kidney, you got the livers, and you got the coroner who pick up the brother that was killed or the sister that was killed, melanated, take their organs, and it's a wrap, That shit bringing in racks. But yeah, go ahead, Mo. My bad.
No, I'm just saying, but that's the way it works. They drop the guns off and they pick up the organs. It's a well-oiled machine.
That's money right there. You got organs to help save lives. Like, you give heart, people who got that money, who up in that elite status could get, like, what's his name? He had 3 heart transplants. Yep. That dude's trying to turn to Dracula. But you
No, but
know,
just think about it for a minute. Let's just break down a homicide, and we'll wrap up after this.
go ahead.
A homicide in the black community, right? So first of all, you have the man getting killed. He's Oregon, right? That's organs. You have the one doing the killing. That's free labor. He's going into slavery, i.e., the criminal justice system.
Yes.
All their resources, their children, everybody else is wards of the state now. Your little girls, your daughters, your sisters you left behind, they go into the sex industry.
Section 8 and all that. Yeah.
No, I said the sex industry.
Oh, you said sex industry?
Yeah, stripping, hooking, hookers, stripping. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they had to make up for the lost economics. You know what I'm saying? That the man that either being killed or the man that's being put into legalized slavery, aka the mass incarceration industry. So it's a perfect storm. It's like, why would you can't tell me this ain't playing?
It is playing, and those are we talk about with the mass incarceration, and you talk about being a slave, because it says in the amendments that is true, unless you are, a prisoner. But why would they pay you $15 to go ahead and make license plates or to work, do some boxes and stuff, where they could lock you up in the penitentiary and pay you $1 a day to do it?
Right.
That's all. Yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got a dead man that's organs to help them live longer. You have another one that's going to work for nothing. And then you got the women and children that they exploit, either through foster homes, sex industry, and all these other things. And then it's rinse and repeat.
Oh yeah, human trafficking, that is an all-time high that we got to talk about for real. Like, that is being looked upon a lot, especially here in Florida. Like, I told y'all about that. They done took that whole wall down of missing kids, mostly, black girls and black boys, and they put a whole new wall up.
Yep. That's exactly what it is. And guess what? In the foster system is the entry point.
They don't care. All right, so they don't care about you in the foster. You go to foster care. They don't care. Like, you end up missing. Oh, she probably ran away. And you be a hooker or a prostitute or something like that, like walking a blade and stuff. Shouts out to AO. What is the first serial killers? Who are the first that they target?
That's why I said it feeds the whole system.
Yeah.
It feeds the whole system. All because they know we're comfortable enough that they can give us guns, certain ones of us. And I don't even want to say us, because then if you participate in that, you're not us. You on their team. We got to start calling the heart. We got to start calling balls and strikes. Now, if you want to reform your mind and reform yourself, and you're saying come join us, that's fine. But if you want to choose, you're saying to participate and be the hopping bob for their system, we got to put you on their side.
I agree with that. That's real stuff right there, Mo. I'm glad you came to clear that up. That was well needed. This right here was well needed. This intellectual property that we could go back and watch over and over again and learn something about it. That was well needed. We definitely need more of this, like, weekly, honestly.
Well, I appreciate you saying you supplying your platform, Grunt. You know what I'm saying? And hey, I'm gonna say this. I gotta say it. I know you ain't gonna don't like me say it, but this is a value for value platform. Please go show your value for what you get. You know what I'm saying? For what Grunt, he done put 2 lives in tonight. Go show that man some value. If nothing else, the least you can do is pay that man with a like, you know what I'm saying, and a share. If you don't understand, if you don't have value, that don't cost you nothing.
A like means a lot. A like help.
Right, and I'm gonna say this: it don't be. And a lot of times people don't want to share because they're ashamed of what they watch and what they're saying, what people might think of them. And if you thinking that way, you might be a victim of the nigga mind.
That's real truth right there. It's like, honestly, I'm gonna keep it real with you. It been times where, like, when I first started to get deep into our history and all that, and it was with Malcolm X, and I used to like share some of it on Instagram. I had even thought, I was like, damn, I'm kind of going ham on this Malcolm X and all that. Like, what the hell? I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I was a victim of that in the mindset, and I had to snap out of it. Just like how I was a victim with how I speak and how I came off as like the angry black man. Like, you know what I'm saying? That was not me, honestly. It just
And
made me
look, I'm
feel like
not
that.
saying that because I'm perfect, because I'm saying that because I've experienced that. When you have that second thought, should I share this? Somebody might see it and know me. You know what I'm saying? Like they might, you know, that kind of thing. It's like, but at some point, you know what, bro? If you with us, you have to propagate the message. If you don't have the resources, the funds, you know what I'm saying, to support us monetarily, the least you can do is hit the thumbs up and share, because you can see you get the views, but you don't get the likes. So what is it? At least give me a down vote if you don't like it.
Please, yeah, downvote would be good too, man. Because I know
Yeah, you
some
know what I'm saying?
people.
Don't be no fence rider.
Exactly. I mean, just go ahead and we're not trying to force you to hit the like button. You could then hit the dislike button. I mean, either way, it's still good. But I mean, at the end of the day, this is intellectual property, and I know that sometimes where people speak the truth, it might be coming off as like, "Oh, it hurts," and that's how I met Mo. Like, you know, Mo would come in. Like, we had another OG. He would come in that approach like that, which would work. But Mo would come in another approach that would save many lives. You know, what was it?
Seek first to understand, then to be understood.
Exactly. So that case, let's say if I'm a young lost young man in the streets, my pants hanging off my ass, and I got the Glock on me with the switch, and I'm smoking a Newport, and Mo will come up to me and he feels as though he had the energy to like say something to me. He ain't gonna be like, "Listen here, boy, listen here, nigga, what the hell you doing?" and all that, because he don't want his life to be at risk and he don't want me to be lost forever. So he'll come to me and say that again because I keep messing it up.
Seek first to understand, then to be understood.
And then eventually it may not be right then and there, but over time he put something in my ear and it just changed my life for the better. That's what he's really talking about, and that's why I appreciate, you know, people come on this platform and, you know, approaching it that way.
And what Grunt has brought to me is he's able to articulate the perspective of a young man that, you know, 15 years, you know what I'm saying, younger than me. Times is different. I mean, nothing new under the sun, but they take their different forms and shapes.
That's
And he
correct.
allows me to, you know what I'm saying, to understand, like, help me to reach, you know, reach people. And it's not like reaching out of charity, it's reaching them because I and men like me need all the help we can get. That's I mean, it ain't it's like, bro, we need to get people up to speed and not have y'all have to go through the 15 years of doubt and, you know, the nigga mindset. And like, it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to be a
Exactly.
free thinker.
It's okay to be a free thinker. It's okay to be yourself. So I'm glad that Mo had used his experiences and I used my experiences, or where I second guessed myself and I felt as though that, man, you know what? People might think I'm green. I ain't really like been about that shit. So let me go ahead and talk crazy, or go ahead and show them what I really had did. That's what we talking about. Like, nah, it's okay to be yourself and it's okay to go ahead and evolve. That's what we trying to say. Shouts out to you. I don't want to give out your government name. I apologize, but Mr. Hamilton, for the donation of 10. Appreciate you. So is there any other thing you want to say though, Mo? This was well needed though, even though this was over an hour, but I'm gonna timestamp it though, just right along with the other live. But this was
Right.
well needed though. So there's
Now,
any other thing?
Grunt, like I said, we were saying we got much work to do. And I would just say to everybody out there, everybody has something to contribute. Everybody, don't think just because you don't have a YouTube channel or you don't have a platform. No, bro, talk to your, and I'll say this in closing. Where I start in my home. You know, I start with my kids. And if I have time after that, I go to my nieces and my nephews. If I have time after that, I go to my cousins and people in my perimeter, or my kids' friends, or, you know, you ain't got to go out here to no Black Lives Matter rally and march and do all this and hold signs up. Impact somebody in your circle. That's how we change this.
And what he mean by that is that your cousin that always like to go on them binges with doing let's say meth or heroin and all that, definitely try to help them out or speak to them before you try to put up a DMX rest in peace post and all that.
Right. You got empathy for DMX, but you won't, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you don't trust him enough to come in your house, but take him a bag lunch.
Exactly.
Come on now. So I appreciate it again, Grunt. You know what I'm saying? Always chopping it up with you. And we'll have to do it again, sir.
Yeah, we definitely got much work to do. Appreciate you, Moe Factz. Moe Factz got his channel. I'm gonna drop his channel in this description. I'm gonna drop the link to dang, I can't see it because the freaking green screen, but I'm gonna do this before I hop off. But let me turn the green screen off. Okay, so shouts out to Don Oliver, Mr. Don. You know, Introduction to the Art and Science of Worldview Warfare. This book is definitely much needed. And the brother I'm talking about is right here. I'm gonna drop his link too because he's making videos about this also too. What we was talking about today within these previous two lives was about all in this book, which is worldview warfare, getting your perception, like making you look at it a certain way, bringing it in there, whether you agree on it or disagree is in your face. So that's what I say though. Much love to y'all though.